Okay, welcome to the iPad podcast, and this is Lex at maxfuture.com. Today it's episode 53, and it's Mother's Day, and there's a lot to cover. I'm going to cover Apple iPad news and also a lot of apps that have come out for the iPad. So it's going to be a busy Mother's Day for the iPad. Thanks for listening. And remember, this is commercial-free and chat-free. Okay, so the first story is really that Apple has a new iPad 2 commercial, and it's actually kind of inspiring, and I guess the title of the commercial is "If You Asked," and basically the commercial goes through, the different perspectives on the iPad depending on who you ask. So it says if you ask so and so, if you ask so and so, you get a different response, what it means, and let's take a look at it, and if you're just listening, let's listen to it, because if you listen to it, it's just as informative.
If you ask a parent, they might call it intuitive. If you ask a musician, they might call it inspiring. To a doctor, it's groundbreaking. To a CEO, it's powerful. To a teacher, it's the future. If you ask a child, she might call it magic. And if you asked us, we'd say it's just getting started.
So I think that ad was very effective, because it's basically saying, look, it's many things to many people, the iPad, depending on who you are. The ad highlights, for example, a music app with multi-tracks. So it's something to a musician. It shows, Alice in Wonderland book for the kids. It shows something for a doctor or a surgeon to use. So I think this ad is going to be very effective in convincing people that the iPad, unlike the Kindle, is highly versatile and can be basically transformed into pretty much anything. It's almost like a chameleon. It can, morph into anything you want it to be, pretty much. Okay, so business-wise, this was a big week for the iPad. Cult of Mac reported that Friday, May 6th, the iPad 2 went on sale for the first time in China. And according to Cult of Mac, the iPad 2 sold out in less than 4 hours. This comes via a source in China called MIC Gadget. And the Beijing store had massive crowds of customers and scalpers who started lining up at 5 p.m. on Thursday. And it says that overnight customers were treated well. There was a special waiting room for them to sleep in, and everybody got a wristband allowing them to leave the line for an hour and return to their place in line. Apparently, there was also a special section for scalpers who set up shop behind a barrier. And there's a picture in this website of Cult of Mac, and MIC Gadget says the big yellow board says that this district forbids scalpers to sell stuff to customers. Behind the yellow board, it's a special zone for scalpers to gather around. Very strange. And then it went on to say that scalpers will sell the iPad 2 outside the Apple Store for a markup of just $30 to $60. For those customers who fail to get one from the store, some of them may buy it from the scalpers. So this is huge because, look, China's a gigantic market. I was in Shanghai last year, I guess in June, and they were iPad crazy, and there was no Apple Store in Shanghai. Now I think there's 2 Apple Stores in Shanghai and an Apple Store in Beijing. And, there's just going to be, this is a huge market. Even if the vast majority of people in China are poor, there's a substantial wealthy and upper scale middle class in China, which, even if it's a small percentage of the 1 billion Chinese population, is still an enormous amount of people, tens of millions of people, 100 million people. So Apple could have huge iPad sales in China. Okay, so Electronista reports that things got crazy in China on that first day of sales, and it says that in Beijing, at I guess the Sanlitun Apple Store in Beijing, a fight broke up, and one account claimed that at least one attempt was made to jump the queue, which caused commotion after security staff tried to maintain order, and that both a Chinese man and a foreigner, quote, John, end quote, got into a fight that broke the glass door. And confusion persisted, according to the Electronista.com story. confusion persisted over who the Chinese man was, though one report identified him as a self-identifying unemployed man who might have been scalping iPads to earn money. And at least one Apple employee may have been involved in this fight. And it says that order was restored, but the fight temporarily disrupted the store and was restored before the evening. And it says that 4 customers, 2 younger men and 2 middle-aged women, were hurt during the incident, which cost Apple $4,620 to replace the glass door by itself. And look, there's like a little video, and there's actually pictures of Chinese people injured. And there's like a little video showing like all the glass broken on the ground. And it's kind of shaky video. But look, this is problematic, you know. Apple always gets tarnished with some little incident or scandal. And, you know, hopefully the Chinese government won't make a big deal of this. And they should really do something about scalpers. I mean, it shouldn't be legal to sort of stay in line just to flip it. You should at least buy and keep one of them. So we'll see if there's any sort of fallout from this crazy incident. Well, there's good news for those of you who want to jailbreak the iPad 2. Well, sort of good news. As you know, up till now, no one's really been able to create an untethered jailbreak for the iPad 2. Untethered means that if the iPad 2 shuts down, you don't need to connect it jailbroken to a computer to restart it. In other words, just untethered, it can reboot in its jailbroken form. And there's a nice story out from MacNN.com saying that 2 prominent iOS hackers are currently racing to jailbreak the iPad 2. The first is Joshua Hill, also known as Po6 Ninja, and most recently recognized for his work in the Green Poison jailbreak. And the article says Hill recently challenged other developers to dump the iPad 2's boot RAM, and one of those people to accept so far is George Hotz, who uses the alias GeoHot. George Hotz is famous because he jailbroke the Sony PlayStation recently and settled out of court. Sony sued him. And in recent weeks, the article says Hotz has become famous for his battle with Sony over the hacking of this PlayStation 3. And look, this is great news because I would like to jailbreak the iPad 2 because it would make it easier for me in the video podcast to show how apps work on the iPad 2, because there's a great jailbreak app called Display Recorder, which I have on the iPhone, and it's a great screen recorder for the iPhone and the iPad. And the current version of the iPad 2, has not been jailbroken, so I wasn't able to get that on that. But once I can screen record some videos and show you how some apps work. So let's hope George Hotz, GeoHot, or Joshua Hill, break it soon. Good luck to them. Now, people have been speculating for the last few weeks that Amazon may actually enter into a tablet war with Apple and expand beyond the Kindle and, go into a full-fledged tablet device that could compete with the iPad, particularly as Amazon has, online stores for things like video and music and storage and all the things that really help someone market a mobile device, whether it's a smartphone or a tablet. Well, Electronista.com reported on May 2nd a rumor that the Amazon tablet is being made, and it's going to be made by contract manufacturer Quanta, and the rumor is that it should be available by the end of the year. And this is according to a parts suppliers said on Monday, May 2nd. And the story says that there could be as many as 700 to 800,000 of the tablets shipped a month, and they could ship as soon as the second half of the year. The article goes on to say that Digitimes was told that Amazon would have a unique tie-in with its usual e-paper supplier. Although e-ink would supply some display components, it would be given just the fringe field switching technology used in LCDs and a touchscreen layer. It goes on to say that the online reseller was confident it would challenge Apple's iPod 2 on content such as its book, movies, music store, while using cheaper Kindles to cover schools and low-end home buyers. It goes on to say its advantage might mostly be limited to the U.S. as the Amazon App Store, Amazon MP3, and Instant Video aren't available outside of the U.S. So it's unclear what kind of details go into this tablet, and there is a possibility that Samsung would be a co-designer. So, I don't know if Amazon can pull this off. I mean, the Kindle is a rather limited device. Its main feature is that it's extremely cheap, a little over $100, and you can read books on it. That's its main feature. And can Amazon pull off creating a true hardware device that's competitive with the iPad? I don't know, but we'll see. I'm sure if something happens, it's going to happen as we approach the Christmas shopping season. Well, if you're a magazine lover and you have an iPad, things might be getting better for you, because it looks like some of the impasse between the magazine publishers and Apple over its subscription policy may be melting away, and magazines may be coming to you in all sorts of ways on the iPad. And by melting away, there was just two stories this week of interest. The first is in the Wall Street Journal. The Journal reports on May 2nd that Time Inc., the country's largest magazine publisher, has reached a deal with Apple to make all its iPad editions free for print subscribers. And Wall Street Journal says this is marking a break in the impasse between publishers and Apple, and lending support to Time's contention that it's business as usual after the ouster of its chief executive. So if you're not familiar with this, Apple took the position that if you were going to offer a subscription for free on the iPad through the subscription model, you couldn't then charge separately outside the iPad and do an end run around Apple taking its cut of the revenue. It's unclear what the terms of the deal here are, because what was reached here was that if you have a subscription to the paper version of Time or any of its magazines, which I guess include Fortune and People magazine, and Sports Illustrated, what this seems to say is you're going to be able to get the content for free on your iPad. What's not clear is Apple going to be getting a cut of the paper revenue somehow from Time? The other issue is, one of the reasons publishers don't like the subscription model that Apple has is they can't get user information. Apple has the user information. Frankly, I don't want the magazines to get user information because they sell it to lousy advertising, and I get all this junk mail. So it goes on to say in the Wall Street Journal, Time Inc. and other major publishers have yet to agree with Apple on terms for selling subscriptions to their iPad editions. The next step beyond making them available to existing print subscribers. And, it goes on to say talks are hung up on the resistance to share information about the users. But, there's another article that came out this week that shows that some publishers are breaking down and agreeing to the paid subscription model that Apple has given them. Specifically, the other publisher that has broken down and it appears to be embracing Apple's subscription model is Condé Nast. Now, Condé Nast has a lot of great magazines like GQ, The New Yorker, Wired, Golf Digest, Glamour, Vanity Fair, Self, and Allure. And I read a story in the unofficial Apple weblog, TUAW, on May 7th, that's today, and it says, a few weeks ago, after Condé Nast announced the company was slowing the process of bringing magazines to the iPad due to the ability to deliver the scale advertisers want, I wrote that sales of magazines on the iPad wouldn't get better until publishers woke up and realized that not many readers are going to pay $5 to read a single issue of a magazine on the iPad. It then goes on to say, and I guess this is via the New York Post, that the New York Post is reporting that Condé Nast is set to begin selling digital magazine subscriptions on the iPad as early as next week, and that the New Yorker will lead off the pack, followed by GQ, and then Wired, Golf Digest, Glamour, Vanity Fair, Self, and Allure. Now, here's what's really great for people who have iPads and only want to read on the iPad. It says that that there could be a yearly subscription at $19.99. Now, if that's the case for the New Yorker, that'll be amazing. Currently, we get the paper version of the New Yorker, and I think we pay like $39 a year, so that would be even cheaper. It says here that the prices will come down per issue to just $2 an issue for some of the magazines. I think this is the way it has to go. One of the things that really frustrates me on the iPad is that it's just too expensive. The magazines, the standalone magazines, are $5 an issue. Who's going to pay $5 an issue just for the digital version? If the paper version is less than the digital version, it's irrational to buy the digital version unless you're just an incredible, environmentalist and are going to pay extra. But frankly, it's cheaper for the publishers to make it in digital than in paper form. So they should be charging less. And I really don't like how the New York Times does this thing where it's actually cheaper to get the paper edition and the digital edition on the iPhone and iPad and the web than it is just to get the digital version. So people who don't even want the paper but want the digital subscription are ordering it with the paper because it's cheaper. So look, I think eventually it's going to go in the same way, and it looks like the Condé Nast magazines could be the first ones. So I'm really excited about this. If the New Yorker goes, digital for just $20 a year, it comes out on a weekly basis. That's a steal. That's a great magazine, and I'm going to embrace it. So look, in the coming year, I bet you're going to see more and more reasonably priced magazines. I mean, what I'd like to see is a bundle. I'd like Condé Nast to say, look, for $50 a year, we'll give you all of our magazines on the iPad. Okay, so let's get to some house cleaning. Now, there was this controversy about the geolocation caching on the iPhone as well as the iPad. This is where Apple had some sort of file that was really designed to help you, have your geolocation figured out quicker when you're trying to figure out using some app, where you're located. And there was this whole controversy that it was saving like more than a few days worth of data, like weeks and weeks and weeks. And the more controversial part was that you could get the file off of a Macintosh or a Windows computer when the iPad or iPhone is backed up to a Mac. That file is buried somewhere in the backup, and someone who's smart and knows how to do it could get that file and sort of piece together generally where you've been. Well, Apple has cured that problem. Apple released iOS 4.3.3. If you haven't done so, you should probably upgrade and get it. The main thing it does, it reduces the size of the cache. Apple says this update contains changes to the iOS crowdsourced location database caching, including reducing the size of the cache, no longer backs up the cache to iTunes, and deletes the cache entirely when location service is turned off. And, it's good for pretty much all the iPhone and iPads. So you should do it if you're at all paranoid about somebody figuring out where you are by getting a hold of your iPad and getting this file. But if you really want to be safe and secure, you might want to encrypt your entire iOS backup. Now remember, when your iPad syncs to a computer through iTunes, it's backing up, and it creates a backup file, which is actually very useful if you ever, have a problem and you want to restore all your content. And the backup has been in the past very useful to me, because when I buy a new device and I upgrade, the backup actually helps transfer all my settings, all my content, all my apps, exactly the way they were on the prior device to the new device. So when I went from an old iPad to the second generation, the backup helped do that. Now, but you might want to encrypt the backup, and the website GigaOM, the Apple blog, has a nice little article by Josh Sunshine on April 29th entitled How and Why You Should Encrypt Your iOS Backups. And it's, well, the main reason to do it is because, you would protect yourself in case somebody got on your computer and went into that file from getting all sorts of information that was in your iPad or iPhone. And how do you encrypt? And according to the article, it's pretty simple. You navigate to the summary tab in your iTunes when the iPad is connected, and in there under options, you'll find the following items, including open iTunes when this iPhone is connected, sync, only check songs and videos, but also encrypt iPhone backup. And that'll exist also when your iPad is there. So you check that box, and a dialog will appear asking for a password for the backup. And you enter a password, and you click Set Password. You shouldn't check the box that says remember this password in the keychain, because if you do that, it sort of defeats the purpose of setting a password in the first place, because anyone having access to your computer could then automatically fill it in through the keychain. And if you want to restore the backup from iTunes will ask for the password, and it's pretty easy to do. I just don't know if it's going to slow down the restore of the backup. But if you want to be safe rather than sorry, this is something that you should consider doing when you do the settings for your iPad backup on iTunes. Okay, so there's a slew of iPad apps to discuss this week. The first is there has been a significant upgrade, version 2.0, to the Sketchbook app that's made by Autodesk, which is a very substantial company that helps do sketching and design apps. And Sketching 2.0, which is a great art, if you're an artist and like to draw and paint, this is was considered from the get-go one of the best apps for drawing and painting. And on May 5th, 2011, Sketchbook issued a major new release, 2.0. So here are the things that are new in 2.0. You now have a customizable user interface. You can assign a selection of commands to do 3 finger swipe gestures. You have a radial menu for expert users to assign brush plus color combinations. There's a brush palette for fast access to your favorite brushes. You have color swatch palette for fast access to your favorite colors. The brush properties puck has been upgraded to allow opacity and size, which is now adjust independently. In addition, the additional brush properties has been upgraded to allow brush rotation, brush aspect ratio, randomization for brush spacing and rotation. You have slider precision. You can tap between sliders to nudge values, variable speed scrubbing on sliders. There's also additional brushes that you can get in the Sketchbook store, and you can install new brush sets, 5 completely new brush sets. There's pinch to zoom, which wasn't there before. It snaps to 100% zoom when pinched to within 5%. There's Dropbox support. This is huge because I love apps on the iPad that have Dropbox support. Dropbox allows you to basically have 2 gigabytes for free in the cloud, and then Dropbox folders on all your devices, including your computers. And if you have a Dropbox app on the iPad, anything in there will also be on your computer. But the cool thing is it's got an open source or an API that's open, so other apps can take advantage of Dropbox. This is something Apple should have done with its MobileMe iDisk app. And so what Sketchbook will allow you to do is save something to Dropbox, and then it will be on your computer or on another device like your iPhone. In addition, they upgraded the layered file import. You can import layered files. And you can have an option now for resolution of high resolution canvas of 2048 times 1536 with 4 layers. In normal resolution on the iPad, which is 1024 by 768, you have 12 layers. You've got 20 undo redo levels and support for mirroring on external displays. This is really cool. This means you could be painting on the iPad but watching the painting on a gigantic screen TV. And it's fixed bugs and performance. There's better document recovery. They fixed import from camera on iPad 2. So it's, if you're into painting and if you're into, sketching and really want to spend some time doing it, this is the ultimate app. Now there's a little demo video of it which I'm gonna play, and if it's not too long, let's watch along to it. Okay, so Sketchbook is only $5, and I think it's kind of worth it. Here in the video, they show you how easy it is, I guess, to use Sketchbook. This guy is just sort of rapidly drawing and sketching. The challenge with all of these painting apps or sketching apps is, they're all different, and there's a lot of menus, because the more powerful they become, the more sort of levels of menus and setting selectors there are. And one thing they're emphasizing in this video is that there's quick access to tools, which is very important. Now in this video, this guy is using almost like a little painter stylus to paint. I don't have one of those, but I would like to get that, because it sometimes gets a little clumsy just painting with your fingers. It would be nice to have like a pen or some sort of drawing finger of some sort. But look, it's only $5, and it's so powerful. If you're if you're an artist and you can use the iPad to create art, I would pick up like a number of these apps, because at $5 a pop or $10 a pop, they're nothing compared to the supplies that you get. If you're a painter, a tube of paint costs like $50 sometime. Canvases, pre-framed canvases cost a pretty bundle. And so this is nothing. $5, $10 here for an app is nothing. So check it out. Okay, so there's a new cool free app that you really should check out called Planetary. And again, it's a free app for the iPad. And basically, it's sort of like a mixture of music and astronomy, and which I think go perfectly together, because music is so inspiring, it's otherworldly, and so is the solar system, so is the universe. So this is the description of Planetary. It's spelled Planetary. Planetary is an all-new, stunningly beautiful way to explore your music collection, available only on the iPad. Fly through a 3D universe dynamically created by information about the recording artists you love. Visit planets that represent your favorite albums and control the playback of your music on the iPad by browsing and selecting astronomical objects. Planetary is just the sort of science fiction experience you expect when using an object from the future like the iPad. You'll want to show your friends this beautiful app. We've made it even easier to share Planetary at home. It looks incredible when you hook up your iPad to a big HD TV or projector using the HDMI accessory. It goes on to say Planetary is the first of a new type of visual discovery app produced by Bloom Studio. In the coming months, we'll be releasing an ongoing stream of apps that let you explore and participate in social networks, video streaming services, and geolocation-based applications. So, I downloaded this and I love it. It's really wild. It's wild seeing, music pulsing and the music being turned into solar system objects. So, I would definitely check it out. Okay, so if you like movies and have a lot of movie files, and you have a lot of movie files on your computer that are not compatible with the iPad or iPhone, you might want to pick up an app that costs $3 called AV Player HD. It's been recently upgraded on April 26, 2011 to version 1.4, and it's very flexible. And basically AV Player HD is one of the apps that allows you to load video files onto the iPad that are not, MPEG-4, Apple, type files that can be played on the iPad, like in the camera app. Let's say you have DivX files or AVI files, or some other funky sort of file formats. Well, this app can play them for you, and you basically load them into your iPad through the iTunes browser. You pick the app in the iTunes browser, and it's like similar iTunes loading. You just go to Devices, My Device, My iPad, Apps, and you drag and drop files into the AV Player HD's document area, and then they'll be loaded there, and you can play them. You can also transfer via Wi-Fi, and I think the Wi-Fi way to transfer is like a lot of apps. Via Wi-Fi, they'll give you a browser address, and then you can load it in or out. Now, this player basically supports Xvid, DivX files, AVI files, WMV files, RMVB files, as well as H.264, and also the MKV files, which are all sorts of movie files. And also it supports subtitles, and it supports SMI, SRT, and TXT subtitles. Now, apparently, in version 1.4, it's taking advantage of the full dual-core power of the iPad 2. That's what it says. It's added the multitasking option, and it's also able to play DVD files with integrated subtitles. So if you've ripped a DVD, I guess, and you load it in here, you're going to be able to play it. There's also a volume option for gestures, and it also has support for integrated subtitles when using HW decoding. So it's, if you're the type of person who's collected a lot of movie files that are not, iPad compatible, you might want to check out this $3 app. It also has TV out capability, so you could then turn your iPad into a movie player through this app, and as well as the video app of the iPad. So check it out. Okay, here's another app that came out that's free that you should check out. It's good for both the iPhone and the iPad. That is, it requires an iPhone 4, iPod Touch 4th generation, or iPad 2, and it's called Videolicious, and it's a free app, and basically it says that it's the fastest way to create great-looking videos automatically. You can turn raw video clips and photos into tightly edited masterpieces to share with your friends in just 3 simple steps. And so it's a video editing app that's supposed to be very easy to edit, and it says you do 3 things. You choose your shots, you tell your story, you choose your music, then Videolicious creates a finished video edited and layered together like a professional video editor automatically. And you can share your videos with Facebook or YouTube directly from the app. You can also send them to magazines like Lucky Magazine, Martha Stewart Living, Self Magazine, and Ready Made. And so this is somewhat innovative, and it works with videos and photos that you choose from the photo library. It outputs video in a documentary film style, which is saved to your camera roll, and it's supposed to be like a fun way to watch your events, parties, and trips. And that it has, I guess, different templates. It has extensive video ideas and detailed instructions on how to create video thank you notes, my day in video, trip documentary, restaurant review video, auction or sales video, product review video, kids and family video, birthday party, sightseeing, shopping, event documentary, personal profile, video resume. So look, it's free, and the reviews so far are good. One person says, this app is great for turning your iPhone photos and video into interesting stories. I've used it to make a mini documentary about my vacation, and then email to my family. The thing is, we've got iMovie on the iPad, which is a nice app, but I know that other people can make great movie editing apps. I mean, even before iMovie came out on the iPad, I was using Reel Director, which was really the first movie editing app on the iPad, and that's got great features. So this is free. I think anything that's free you should check out, because some of the best things that I've gotten on the iPad have been free. I'm looking through the reviews are almost universally high. This has got, out of 118 ratings, this has 3.5 stars, which is pretty high. So check it out. It's again, it's called Videolicious, Videolicious, and it's free. So who can beat that? So anyways, here's a little movie that shows you how Videolicious works on the iPhone, which is not going to be that different than the iPad. So here he is. This is on the iPhone. He just picks what videos he wants from the camera, and then he talks into the camera himself. So he's narrating the videos. It's a good way to edit your story. And then I guess you pick your music, which you can pick from iTunes that's integrated in there. So in a way, it's sort of like a very simplified version of the iMovie app. Again, it's free. I would check it out. So the calendar app that comes with the iPad from Apple is pretty darn good. It's pretty good. But what if you're looking for something different? What if you want a different calendar, to use with your iPad? Well, there's a new app out called Week Calendar HD, and it costs only $2.99, and it looks pretty nice. The features include what it considers to be a beautiful display of events, a better day, week, and month overview. You can organize events using touch and flick. You can resize events very quickly. I mean, one of the things that kind of frustrates me with the Apple calendar is I'd like it to be easier to move around events. It works with all iOS supported calendars, including MobileMe, Outlook, Google Calendar, Exchange, and CalDAV. It supports calendar syncing. You can quickly add appointments by tap and hold. There's zoom in using pinching. You can link contacts to events, template support, cut, copy, paste support, set complex recurrent rules, share events via email, and I guess this is version 1.01, and you've got birthday integration and search. So, what I like about it in particular is there's just really good color coding of events, which is similar to the Outlook calendar you get on Windows. And other than that, I mean, it's nice fonts. You've got sort of yellow highlighting of days and events, as well as other colors. So I think you just have more color choices. The reviews are pretty good. It's got, out of 46 ratings, 5 solid stars. Here's a typical review from someone named Murick. Says, wow, so much better than the app that comes with the iPad. Overall, it looks like this is a very good calendar app if you're looking, if you're interested in spending a few bucks and checking out a calendar that's maybe, could compete with the calendar that Apple has, you might want to check this out. It's called Week Calendar HD, and it looks like a nice app, so check it out. Okay, so the iPad is a really great photo viewing app or device. I mean, what's great about the iPad is if you want to show photos, and this is the way to do it, because you can hold it close to people. It's like a big magazine, but it's electronic. And there's an app that costs $2 or $1.99 that could be the ultimate coffee table app for the iPad. Now think about it. Like when I was growing up, we had these very glossy, beautiful coffee table books, which were pictures of, let's say, Africa. Somebody would sell a hardcover of, beautiful, almost National Geographic pictures of Africa, and they'd be in a coffee table book. Or there'd be a coffee table book about great places in the world. So this app, which is $2, is called 50 Places of a Lifetime, the world's greatest. And basically this 50 Places of a Lifetime app comes from National Geographic Society. So it basically showcases 50 great world destinations chosen by National Geographic's family of globe-trotting contributors. And the key features are photo galleries that immerse you in the world's most picturesque places, videos in 360-degree panoramic experiences that bring a destination to life, interact fast facts that offer fascinating details about each destination. There's personal places of a lifetime checklist that allows you to indicate places I've been or places I want to visit. You can have short personal essays that reveal the essence of each place from writers such as Paul Thoreau, Salman Rushdie, Arthur Golden, Bill McKinnon, Jan Morris. So this is like just a fantastic, immersive coffee table book in an iPad. I mean, you've got like a whole section on the Taj Mahal. You've got a section on North Island. In New Zealand. Look, if you ever want to get inspired to travel, this app seems to be it, because it's just snapshots and beautiful, stunning pictures of around the world. And if you have kids like I do, you might want to get this just to sort of expose them to beautiful, beautiful places around the world. And let's see, there's 5 reviews. And the reviews are, 4 out of 5. See, the one negative review here is 2 stars, says this app is okay, not enough pictures and interactive content for the price. I hope they'll add more later. Somebody else says that they're getting rid of it. However, another person writes, what a fun app. I love the 360-degree views. It's like being in my favorite places. The 360 degrees of Petra especially brought me back to being at the Treasury. As expected, the photography is stunning. Somebody else wrote, I love this app. Whether I've been in a place or not, I love the stories, photos, and interactives. The bucket list feature is also great. Somebody else says, to say it best, beauty and extraordinary. This is an app to own for the excitement of travel planning. So again, it's $2, and it's from the National Geographic Society, so it's got a very substantial organization behind it. So you might want to check it out. Okay, so now if you're into music and into beautiful, funky images and almost space-like images, you might want to check out another one of these interactive music apps. We've seen a number of them, like Magic Piano, which came out before. Well, there's one now that's come out called Pulse Volume 1, and it's $4.99. It's a pretty hefty in size. It's 70.9 megabytes, and it was released on May 5th, and it's a version 1.0. And so here's the description. The screenshots of Pulse are like, it's like a circle with all sorts of I don't know, psychedelic like things floating over like concentric circles, but it's a game essentially. So it's a music game, and this is what the description is. Game features 8 core levels of original music plus frequent free updates with brand new levels and music. Gameplay featuring an intuitive and original use of multi-touch. Sleek, engaging design created specifically for the iPad. Easy to play, hard to master. Whimsical particles in awe-inspiring palettes. Eclectic soundtrack of varying genres. And some of the reviews, I guess, from game places. Macworld says a remarkable rhythm game. Pocket Gamer says a package so thoroughly well put together you're reminded of why music games were popular in the first place. Let's read some of the user reviews. I mean, it's gotten 4.5 stars out of 99 ratings, which is pretty high. And here's a 5-star review by somebody named Brandon Blattner, who writes, quite possibly the finest game I've ever played on the iPad. Almost certainly the most beautiful and most definitely the game I'll probably be playing for the next month straight. Bravo to the developers. This is near perfect work. Somebody else writes, the music is beautiful, the learning curve is steep, and the concept is simple and original. As a musician, I'd say this is an excellent way to intuitively learn different rhythms. Good level app. Somebody else writes, Scott Daly writes, simply stunning and so sexy so far. The app capitalizes on the multi-touch functionality of the iPad, and users challenged to keep pace with the app's music and tap notes as they are crossed by the pulse as it expands in time with the music. So this is sort of like Tap Tap Revenge, the music app where you had to like tap on the iPhone as it crossed these falling dots crossed a certain place. So it seems to be similar in concept. I don't know. It looks fascinating. The question is, do you want to spend $5 on a game like this? The reviews seem to be exceptionally strong. Now, if you go to the CipherPrime.com website, which makes the app, that's CipherPrime.com, you can see some of the screenshots of the app, and it's very simplistic. It's basically concentric circles, and there are these sort of like fish-like outlines of things, and I guess they represent the music and the pulse. And it's very pretty. And then you get the notes coming out, floating out. We've seen this concept of the concentric circles. I'm pretty sure in like Magic Keyboard, Magic Piano, and other apps. But it looks like they're taking it to another level. It's very pretty. The designs are very pretty, like stars and diamonds and orbits, and so I think the iPad is conducive to that. It's definitely stylish. The colors, the artwork is really kind of striking, and it's a simple concept. And I think if you're into music and into gaming and mixing the two together, this may be the app to get. Okay, so here's a free app you might want to get if you're into stop motion animation. Now, about a month ago, I mentioned how the Everyday app, which is a app that allows you to, take a picture of your face every day and then eventually make it into a movie. I showed you how to turn that into stop motion animation app, because if it's good at like just taking single shots and weaving them together into a movie. And well, here's an app called iMotion HD that's free, and it's a time-lapse stop motion app for all iOS devices, including the iPad 2 and the iPhone 4. And it features the ability to record in 720p HD capture and export. It's a universal app. It has 4 capture modes: time-lapse, manual, Wi-Fi remoted, and microphone. portrait landscape orientational support, useful capture tools like onion skin, grid, manual focus, video and photo exports to photo library, iTunes sharing folder, and email. You can also directly send stuff to YouTube. There's also iMotion gallery sharing and quick and smooth interface. You can auto-save and direct preview your movie. There's unlimited movie size, which is great. Retina display, multitasking. And you can buy the full version of iMotion HD to unlock additional features such as the movie library and movie exports. So I guess for 99 cents you get exports and the movie library. And you can watch movies that were made in iMotion on YouTube. So look, it's free, and for another 99 cents you get the export functions. But it looks like at least you could export it to YouTube. It's much more involved than the Everyday app. And if you want to check out a way to do stop motion animation and time lapse, this seems to be the ticket. The reviews are pretty good. Out of 19 ratings, it's gotten 3.5 stars. Let's see what the worst review. One of the best reviews is by someone named Ijroliat. Writes, "I love it. Works perfectly. Extremely easy to use. So much fun." It's gotten pretty good reviews. So if you're into this, you should check it out. It's both iPhone and iPad ready, and it's made by Finger Lab. Let's take a look at some of the videos that were made with it. So here's some movies made by this app that are on YouTube, and basically it shows a time lapse movie made in your car, where it's the kind of time lapse thing you could see where you're driving quickly through the car. So that's kind of cool because you could set intervals of taking the shot with this iMotion app. And it's, if you're into doing fun, cool things, I think it might be worth it. Let's see if we could see another movie made by someone here. Let's see. This is called TV by Pino. And so it's a fun tool, I guess. This is kind of fun. It's stop motion animation using little dolls and toys. You just move them around. And I did this with the Everyday app, but you might want to do it with this iMotion app. So it's good. It could be good for kids. It also might be fun to just, if you're having a party outdoors, to just set down your iPad and and just do time lapse pictures and time lapse videos, and then you could show it to the people in the party later on. So all right, here's somebody did a stop motion animation, very very creative. It's a little robot made out of paper skateboarding. So there's all sorts of fun things you can do with it. Okay, so now if you're looking for a game that brings you back in time to the old, arcade games of the 1980s or 70s that were in 3D and just sort of outline of tanks and obstacles, there's an app that goes back in time. It's a retro classic game called Spectre 3D. And it's, I remember sort of playing this a long time ago, but people on the internet say it's exactly like the arcade game Spectre that was, in those machines that you'd find at the bowling alley. So it only costs 99 cents. They say it's that's the price, 80% off for a limited time. And, I've played around with a little bit of it. You've got a sort of joystick button on the left that you use your thumb on the iPad, and you go through an obstacle field, and you're looking for other tanks, and you shoot with your right thumb. And, it seems like a lot of fun for $1. And this is what it says. It's a remake of the 1990s retro classic game that takes place in a virtual cyberspace world. Spectre's simple but addictive gameplay is easy to learn. Yeah, let's see. Some of the features include multiplayer games include Arena, Capture the Flag, Flag Rally, Base Raid. In single-player mode, it includes Spectre Classic, Spectre VR, Spectre Arcade. One of the wild things is that you can play up to 16 players via internet or Wi-Fi. Now, that's pretty cool. I think you have to, give some sort of common internet address, but this is pretty wild. You can have like a LAN party. You could have, if you have 16 people over with the iPad, it works both on the iPhone and the iPad. You can have like a group game over the common Wi-Fi. Also, you can play up to 4 players on Bluetooth, so you can just connect with each other on Bluetooth. It's also works with Game Center on the iPad and the iPhone. There's an arcade mode, the weapons shield, and fight energy power-ups. So I guess they're claiming it's the first ever online multiplayer stereo 3D game. So it is sort of stereo 3D, it's the old-fashioned 3D where you feel like you can go in time and space in different areas. So, here's some screenshots if you're looking at the video. It's very retro. It's not modern. It looks like early 90s, but it harkens back to that arcade game. Look, it's only 99 cents now. It looks like they're going to raise the price. Out of 102 ratings so far, the average rating is 5 out of the latest version. And, I think it's worth it. I've been playing around with it. I'm not really that adept at it yet, but for 99 cents, it turns your iPad into an arcade game. Okay, another app that I recommend that's free and works both on the iPad and iPhone is called Blekko, Blekko. And basically, Blekko is a competitor of Google because it's essentially a search engine. And it's a website. You can go to Blekko, Blekko, and open an account. It's free. And also, there are apps that are free. And what is Blekko? Blekko is essentially, it's a search app. It searches the internet. But what's cool about it is by using slashes, which is that, slanting slash tag. So you enter a search and then put a slash tag, and that narrows the search. So, for example, if you search the word industrial design and then put slash colleges, it would, narrow that search. If you put the word New York and then put the slash, then put slash hotels, it just looks for hotels in New York. So it's a way to create narrower, more realistic searches. And, obviously it's got a big ways to go to compete with Google. So, basically this is what it says. Slash tag search only the sites you want and cut out the spam. Use friends, experts, community, or your own slash tags to slash in what you want and slash out what you don't. Features include search the web via the Blekko search index, log into your Blekko account, search vertically with slash tags, pivot easily between different slash tag categories suggested by Blekko for your search, access real-time data by adding date to your search, quickly access a web's SEO data on the fly. SEO data is basically the data that tells you how many people are looking at a website or downloading stuff from that website. You can add any search result to your slash tags or create a slash tag directly from the app, and you can mark search results as spam so they never show up in your results again. So look, it's just a different way to search. I really just had come across this the other day and I started playing around with it, but it's really kind of cool. And, it might be another tool to use when you're searching for stuff on the internet. Not everything is Google, and this might be just a different tool for looking for answers and content on the internet. And again, it's free. The customer reviews are out of 22 ratings, it got like 4 stars or 3. I could say 3 3/4. But again, it's a free app. So if you don't like it, you delete it after you download it. Again, it's called Blekko, Blekko. Okay, well, thanks for listening to episode 53 of the iPad podcast. This is Lex at maxfuture.com. And, if you want to leave a voicemail or contact me in any way, you can leave a voicemail at 617-826-9676. That's 616-826-9676. Or email me at maxfuture@gmail.com. Again, this is a commercial-free podcast and a chit-chat-free podcast, and I'd really appreciate any positive feedback you can give me in iTunes. That helps other people find the podcast, and I'd like to continue doing this just as a service to other people who like the iPad and Apple products. So thanks for listening. Again, this is episode 53. See you next week.